Alright, so you guys have been wanting a video on this. I'm going to go over real quick how to use the Vector21, which you can find in your binocular slot. It's all the way at the bottom. Pick the night one because that's the only one with night vision on it. This is going to be pretty damn useful for point and click mortars. So what I have out here is this is the 360-degree training course for ACE. And I can give you guys a link to it if you want it. It's fucking useful as shit. You can go through the menu here and you can clear all your targets. You can check your impacts. You can add soldiers targets. You can add steel targets, steel plates, balloons. You can look at your bullet path tracing, and you can add tank targets and a bunch of other stuff. You can also add groups of different ranges. But we're going to go over the Yardage 21 and why you should be using it in conjunction with a MicroDAGR. So the first thing we'll do is we'll pull up the MicroDAGR and we'll go to the main menu by clicking on the bars, signal bars up in the top left, and we'll hit connect to. So what this is going to do, if we hit home and control home, we'll go through your handheld devices on the right side if you're using a Kestrel or an ATRAG or whatever, but you should just be using a MicroDAGR. So what we have over there is R 10-digit grid coordinate and R elevation in the top right, and you can see the laser marker in the bottom with range, elevation, and it will give you a 10-digit grid coordinate. We're going to go over all the controls of the Vector21, and like I said, make sure you get the night one because that one has night vision on it, and you're going to want that. So you can see I've already got some data pulled up, but I've got two targets out here just to give you examples. We're going to go over everything that you can possibly need to know with the Vector. And there's also documentation on this on the ACE website on all these controls if you need to set them. And if you need to look at the controls in-game, it should be options, controls, configure add-ons, ACE equipment, and you should have all your controls in here. Now it's going to be a lot of double taps and stuff like that. Pretty much everything on the Vector is controlled with tab and R. Actually, everything is controlled with tab and R, and there's a multitude of different button combinations with those two buttons that are going to give you all this information. So what we've got here is we're just going to go over distance and azimuth. If you want to get your distance, you just hold R, and that will give you a slope distance, right? So 230 meters to that target, 296 meters to that target. Now if you want to get a true distance with your elevation difference, you're going to double tap R and hold it on the second tap, and that'll give you 228. So it's a negative 31 elevation difference from me, which is pretty useful. So that's a lot easier to use whenever you're tracking true distance to a target, and that's definitely going to come into play on the mortars, especially at those greater distances or greater elevation changes. Minus 31 feet's not that much, so it really doesn't matter. So that's how you're going to get your true distance and slope distance to a target. So one hold of R until the red circle pops up on your target. That'll give you your slope distance. Double tapping it and holding it on the second one until you get the circle to pop up, letting it go, you get 221 or 228 with a minus 31 elevation difference, and it matters all the way out there too. So 296 would be our slope distance, and our true distance would be 294 with a minus 34 elevation difference. Alright, so heading, you hold tab, you're going to get a heading on a target, right? As long as you hold tab, you can move it around and get different headings. So I know that's at 35. I hold tab on that target, and I know I'm going to get 35 or 31 out of both of these. Now if you double tap tab and hold it on the second tap, you're going to get distance plus elevation distance, your vertical distance in degrees. So I know it's minus 8 degrees below me, which would come into play more so on shooting than it would on mortars. So that's how you're going to get your two main measurements there, and heading and distance. So now we're going to talk about how to get a 10-digit grid coordinate out of a target. So if you want to get both your heading and your distance, your slope distance, not your true distance, you're going to hold tab and R together. Now I'm going to get 31 degrees and 230 meters. Now I know that comes down to 228, and my true distance, if I double tap R, I'm going to get minus 31 on my elevation, 228 on the distance, the true distance. But tab and R held together until you get the red circle popped up is going to give you 31 degrees, 230 meters. Now, it's not that much below me, so I'm not going to worry too much about getting the true distance on that target. But as you can see on my MicroDAGR, it's given me an exact heading in very, very precise degrees, right? So it's no longer going from 30 to 31 degrees. It's 30.7 degrees. Like that's a pretty big deal when it comes into the mortars, because it just makes you more accurate, right? So our range is 0.228 kilometers, so 228 meters. We've got the elevation of the target, and we've still got our elevation. And at the very bottom of the MicroDAGR, just above the menu options there, it's giving us a 10-digit grid coordinate, 06571 08518. And if you want to punch that in, I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. We're going to continue covering the MicroDAGR, or correction, the Vector21. So tab and R held together is how you're going to get that exact 10-digit grid coordinate of a target. As you can see, I've got a new one down there for my my new target in the woods back there. So just to give you a quick overview on how to do that. So now we're going to go over vertical and horizontal distance. So in order to get that, you're going to double tap and hold R and then tap tab. So on the second tap on the R, we're going to hold R, we're going to tap tab, and that's going to give us our first point. We're going to get vertical and horizontal distance from point to point here. So I'm going to take my first point here, I'm going to move it up to my second target, release R. Now I've got a vertical and horizontal distance. So I know if I want to adjust my shot, I need to add 69 meters, and I need to move 66 meters to my right. Okay, so in order to get horizontal distance and heading, and this is going to come in play whenever you're spotting for a team, an Overwatch team, you are going to tap tab and hold it, and you're going to hold tab and tap R. So that gives us our first point. We're going to move up to our second point. Now I know from point to point, from here to here, it's 48 degrees and 69 meters. So if I see a gun barrel coming around the corner, or I know something is around something at a certain point, I can give those guys a quick reference just by tapping tab and holding it, and tapping R on one point, and then releasing tab on a second point. So I can say, hey guys, you've got targets 48 degrees, 69 meters from your position. And if I want to get super technical with it, I can give them a 10-digit off of this too. So that's very, 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 very useful. Alright, so we've covered all of that. There's only one control left, and that is our sight shot, which is definitely going to come into play on you mortar guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to double tap and hold tab on the second tap, and then we're going to tap R on one point and move it to a second point, right? So I know my point of, let's say my point of impact needs to be here, right? It wasn't here, but it needs to be here. So I'll double tap tab, tap R on that point, and let's say the shot fell here, right? I know I need to move left 6 meters and down 58 meters, right? And that'll give you a very, very quick adjustment point if you're doing line of sight mortars. If not, then you can also get your spotter, whoever your JTAC or forward observer is who's calling it in, he can use his tool to do the same thing for you guys. And I know we do everything in 50 meters, but if you absolutely need something, on fucking target, you're trying to blow up a BMP or something like that, you need the shot as close as possible. So this is just a tool for you to be able to do that. Now, if you tap R, our height correction values go to up and down. So I know I need to correct to up 5, right? So that is how you would cover all the controls. That's all the controls for the Vector21. That's a lot of fucking tools that you can use. You can get distance. Oh, excuse me. If you want to get this to go away, you want to clear it, just tap tab. Everything will go away. So we can get heading, we can get distance, We get heading and distance, and it sends it to our MicroDAGR. We can get azimuth with an inclination. We can get true distance. We can get a distance between two targets. Hold R, tap tab, move it up. We got 69 meters between the targets. That's a horizontal distance. We can get vertical and horizontal distance by double tapping tab and holding R. Getting our first point. I'm sorry, double tap tab, hold R. Yep, messing this up. There we go. Double tap tab, hold tab, tap R. Now we've got a sight shot distance correction. We can get our horizontal distance and heading between two targets, and we can get our sight shot. So that's a shitload of tools that you can get out of this thing. Now let's say you're the mortarman. You want to be able to punch in this grid coordinate here. So let me write it down real quick, and we'll punch that grid coordinate in as a waypoint. So 06571085518. So, and I alt tabbed. Fuck matter. Alright, so in order to get this set up as a waypoint, we're gonna go to equipment, configure MicroDAGR. We're going to go to the main menu here. I'm gonna hit waypoints, add waypoint, go to our grid coordinate 06571085518. Okay. And we can change that to whatever name we want. So I'm just going to go 0001, right? So I know it's 0.228 kilometers. I can set my waypoint. It's going to give me an exact compass heading to it. And if I open my map, I can see that waypoint on the map, right? And I can center on myself. I can get a compass direction to it, or I can be guided to it, right? So I know that my range from this point to that point is 30.7 degrees, and as I change my head around, I can see it. So this is a much more number guided thing. Now if I decide to hop on my fucking my light mortar here, if I'm looking up, I know it'll give me all of those corrections appropriately, and I can still use my my MicroDAGR here by pulling it up. So I know I'm 33.1, and you can really dial this shit in, right? 29.8, 31.2, 30.6. That's extremely fucking close, right? I'm just tapping home to bring my MicroDAGR up, because you're not gonna be able to get it unless you're zoomed in like that, and that's just doesn't fucking work here. So I know I can keep pulling this up. I can get dead fucking nuts accurate. All I'm gonna do is just lower the DPI on my mouse so I can get less and less movement, right? So I'm at 30.7 exactly right here, okay? And that's gonna be key. And I know my range is 227 meters. So I know I can open up my range table here. 227 meters, that'll be 1456 mils on my elevation. And I can't even fucking reach that due to terrain constrictions here. But just to give you guys a, let's say I wanted to go to 296 meters. I could hop out of this. I can give myself this target. I'll open my MicroDAGR, go to configure MicroDAGR, main menu, connect to, and I'll be able to get my exact grid coordinate on that one. 066220847. I can open my MicroDAGR again, go to my main menu, waypoints, add 066220847. Okay, I'll change that to 0002 in the name. I'll set that as my waypoint. It'll give me the compass direction to it, and I can keep configuring it to give me, okay, 34.7 at 293 meters. I'll go ahead and hop on my mortar here. We'll get headed over here. And I'll keep bringing up my MicroDAGR to give me very, very precision shots on it. Okay, 292 meters. So that's just under 300. So we're going to go to 14, right about 1400 on our shot here. I can keep checking. 34.4, 34.6, 34.7. I'll reload around, check my heading again, fire. We'll see where we hit. Now obviously this isn't correcting for wind drift, which is always a possibility, but it doesn't look like there's any wind around right now. And we were right on target. Short by about, let's see, if I want to get my sight shot, I'll double tap tab, tap R. Actually, I should do it on the target. Tap R. I'll go to point of impact. I know I need to go left 1 meter and add 13 meters to my shot. So that's how I'm using this MicroDAGR setup. I wanted to run this through for you guys. So this is an instructional video. If you have any questions on the MicroDAGR or the Vector21, please give me any questions you have. I'm going to do my best to answer them. I'm diving into this shit pretty fucking hard. So if you guys need anything on this, please let me know. We're going to get this shit super dialed in. As you can see, that's not a far shot, but it definitely can be utilized in the longer ranges. There's 1368. So I'm going to do a video showing how I'll go through an artillery call at that kind of distance, and I'll send that to you guys too. So hope you guys are learning something out of this. If you got any questions, I've got documentation on how to use the Vector. I don't have documentation on MicroDAGR right now, but I should be able to get it for anybody here very, very soon. So you guys fucking learn something, and I'll try and train you guys up on this even more.